Listen, if someone wants you in their life, you'll know. You won't have to chase them, decode their mixed signals, or constantly prove your worth. People who value you don't keep you guessing. They show up consistently, clearly. But here's the hard truth. Not everyone who crosses your path is meant to stay. And that's okay. You're not here to audition for a role in someone else's life. You're not a placeholder for someone figuring out their priorities. You've got dreams, goals, a life to build. And every minute you spend stressing over someone who isn't matching your energy is a minute stolen from your purpose. Stop waiting for the apology. Stop waiting for them to get it. Stop chasing closure from people who were never open in the first place. Close the door yourself and lock it with peace. Because when you stop begging for scraps of attention and start choosing yourself, everything changes. You become magnetic, grounded, whole. Not because someone validated you, but because you finally did, so let them go. Wish them well, silently or loudly, and move forward with fire. Your peace, your power, your joy, that's non-negotiable. It's time you start acting like it. Absolutely. Here's an expanded 700-word version of Key Point 1. You in their life won't make you chase them. No subheadings, no conclusions, just straight, grounded talk with heart and clarity. When someone truly wants you in their life, you feel it. You don't have to second-guess everything they say. You're not lying awake at night wondering what they meant by that last message or why they suddenly pulled away. They show up with energy, with clarity, and with presence. It's not confusing. It's not chaotic. It's not hot and cold. When someone wants you in their life, their actions back it up. Not once, not for a week, but consistently. They communicate, they initiate, they make space for you. You're not on the sidelines wondering when they'll remember you exist. You're a priority, not an afterthought. Now here's where it gets real. When you're constantly chasing someone, it's not love. It's not connection. It's attachment mixed with anxiety. It's you trying to prove your value to someone who should have seen it from the start. You should never have to campaign for someone's time, affection, or respect. That's not love. That's performance. And love is not a performance. It's a choice. It's showing up. And if they're not choosing you every single day, they're already making a decision. They're choosing not to. People who genuinely want you in their world don't let you dangle in uncertainty. They don't breadcrumb you with a text here and a dry response there, just enough to keep you hooked, but never enough to build anything real. That's not emotional investment. That's emotional manipulation. And you don't need to be caught in that loop of hoping they'll wake up and realize your worth. Because the truth is, if someone has to realize your worth, they're already too far behind. The right people don't need convincing. They just see you. They feel your energy. They want to be around it. And they'll put in the effort because that's what people do when they value something. They protect it, nurture, and make time for it. So if you're always initiating, always compromising, always the one trying to fix, smooth over, or hold the connection together with both hands while they're barely lifting a finger, it's not mutual. And if it's not mutual, it's not aligned. Stop calling one-sided effort a loyalty. Stop calling pain a growth. Stop calling inconsistency a love. Call it what it is. A situation that's draining your self-worth and distracting you from the people who would actually pour into you if you just stop pouring into someone with a broken cup. The harsh reality is, sometimes we hold on to people not because they're right for us, but because they validate a wound we haven't healed. Maybe you've been abandoned before. Maybe you've been overlooked. Maybe you've had to prove yourself your entire life to family, to teachers, to partners. And now you've mistaken inconsistency for something you need to fix. But you're not here to fix people who can't even be honest with themselves. And to even be honest, you're here to live fully, freely, and in alignment with people who see you, respect you, and choose you. Daily, not occasionally. That doesn't mean you hate the people who didn't choose you. It doesn't mean you hold resentment. It means you love yourself enough to walk away from anything that feels like a question mark when what you deserve is a clear yes. Life is too short to spend it waiting around for someone to decide if you're enough. You are enough. You've always been enough. You just got caught up in someone else's inability to see that. And that's on them, not you. If you have to chase them, they're already running. And maybe what they're running from has nothing to do with you and everything to do with their own fear, their own patterns, their own brokenness. But again, that's not your problem to fix. You can't heal people by hurting yourself. You can't love someone into loving you back. All you can do is stand in your truth, in your peace, and in your worth, and let their absence be a gift. The space you need to fill your life with people who don't make you question your place in theirs. Because someone who truly wants you in their life, they make it known. They make it known. They make it easy. And they make it safe. You are not on this planet to beg anyone to see your value. That is not your purpose. You weren't born to be in a constant state of proving, performing, or pleasing just to earn love, attention, or acceptance. Your worth isn't something that needs to be justified or explained. It isn't something that increases when someone praises you or decreases when someone walks away. It is constant. It is inherent. It's there when you're winning, and it's there when you're breaking. Nothing and no one has the power to define it but you. But so many people live their lives like they're on trial, always trying to earn a spot in someone's heart, always trying to be enough in someone else's eyes. That's not living. That's surviving. That's shrinking. Shrink. That's molding yourself into something more palatable, more likable, more convenient, just so someone won't leave. That is not love. That is fear in disguise. And the worst part, even after all that effort, the people you're bending over backward for still won't see you. Because you were never supposed to make yourself smaller just to be chosen. You were supposed to walk in your truth and let the right ones rise to meet you there. The moment you realize that your value is not up for debate is the moment everything changes. You stop chasing people who give you half effort. You stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop settling for connections that require you to abandon yourself just to keep them going. You weren't put here to audition for a role in anyone's life. You're not a side character. You are the whole damn story. And the people who are meant to be in your life, truly meant to be there, will never ask you to tone yourself down just to stay in the room. Here's what you need to understand. When someone can't see your value, it's not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of them. Their lens is clouded by their own wounds, their own insecurities, their own fears. Maybe they've never had someone like you in their life before, so they don't know how to hold it. Maybe they're intimidated by the strength you bring, by the way you love, by your light. That's not your fault. And it's not your job to dim that light, so it's easier for them to handle. You can't lower your frequency just to meet someone at theirs. You have to rise and let them decide if they're willing to grow, too. Convincing someone of your worth is a never-ending cycle. Even if you win and get their attention, it doesn't last. Because the moment you stop performing, they're gone again. You find yourself trapped in a pattern of constantly doing more, saying more, being more, just to feel like you matter. But you already matter. Your presence is enough. Your energy is enough. The right people will feel that without you having to shout it from the rooftops. Let's be honest. There will always be people who overlook you, misunderstand you, or flat out reject you. That's life. But none of that should shake the foundation you've built within yourself. And yet, because your value doesn't fluctuate based on who's looking at you, it's stable, it's rooted. And when you fully understand that, you stop begging for tables that were never set for you. You build your own table. You bring your own seat. And you invite only the people who can meet you with that same energy, that same depth, that same respect. You are not for everyone, and that's your superpower. The people who truly get you will not only see your worth, they will honor it. They will protect it. They will reflect it right back to you. But none of that can happen until you decide that your worth is not up for negotiation. It's not a project. It's not an argument. It's a fact. So stop performing. Stop waiting. Stop waiting. Stop hoping that someone, somewhere will finally give you the green light to be who you are. You don't need permission. You've always had the power. The only question now is whether you're ready to act like it. There's this painful but liberating truth that we all have to face at some point. Not everyone who walks into your life is meant to stay. And that's not something to fear. That's something to understand, to accept, and in many ways, to be thankful for. Because holding on to everyone, forcing connections to last beyond their expiration date is what keeps you stuck. It's what creates unnecessary suffering. Some people are chapters, not the whole book. Some people are lessons, not lifelong companions. And trying to turn every interaction into a forever story will only wear you down. When you really start looking at life with clear eyes, you realize that every person who crosses your path brings something with them. Some bring joy. Some bring growth. Some bring chaos, some bring chaos. Some bring mirrors that reflect back the parts of you that still need healing. But what they all bring, every single one, is a role, a reason, a ripple. The ones who hurt you cracked something open. The ones who loved you taught you what was possible. The ones who ghosted you showed you how to stand alone. Everyone contributes to your becoming, whether you wanted them to or not. The problem is, we cling. We hold on tighter than we should because we believe that loss equals failure. We take people walking away as a sign that we weren't enough, or that we messed up, or that we somehow missed our shot. But that's not true. Sometimes people leave because their role in your life is done. Sometimes they were only meant to guide you to a certain point, and then life takes them in a different direction. And sometimes they were never aligned with you to begin with, but you were too focused on potential to see the reality. Either way, the ending is not a loss. It's a release. The end. And sometimes they were never now. You don't need to fight to keep people who are meant to go. You don't need to keep reaching out, chasing, fixing, or trying to make it work with someone who has already checked out emotionally. That's not love. That's attachment. That's fear. That's your ego trying to keep the story alive when the soul is ready to move on. And you have to honor that. You have to trust that what is being removed for a reason, even if it hurts, especially if it hurts. Growth always demands space, and sometimes the only way for you to step into the next level of who you are is for certain people to step out. There is beauty in letting go. There is peace in not needing closure. There is power in simply saying, this isn't for me anymore, and walking away, even without all the answers. Because the truth is, the right people won't need to be chased. They won't confuse you. They won't take more than they give. They won't disappear when things get difficult. They'll show up. They'll match your energy. They'll stand beside you because they want to, not because you beg them to. When you start seeing people leaving your life not as punishment, but as protection, everything shifts. You stop trying to force broken pieces to fit. You stop needing validation from people who were never capable of giving it in the first place. You start asking better questions, not why didn't they stay, but what did this teach me? Not how do I get them back, but what does my soul need right now? You move from resistance to acceptance. From desperation to detachment. From fear to freedom. Letting go doesn't mean you didn't care. It doesn't mean it didn't matter. It just means you care about yourself enough to stop holding space for someone who no longer fits the vision. It means you're ready to stop watering dead plants and start focusing on your own growth, because not everyone is meant to stay, and that's not something to grieve. That's something to honor. It means you're evolving. It means life is clearing the path for something better. And the more you trust that, the more peace you'll find in the letting go. Confusion is not connection. Mixed signals are not love. And the more you pour your time, heart, and attention into uncertainty, the more you drain yourself of the clarity, peace, and confidence you actually need to thrive. If you constantly find yourself questioning where you stand with someone, wondering what they meant, analyzing their every text, their tone, their timing, let that be your answer. When it's real, you won't have to decode it. When it's right, it will not feel like a riddle. So you will not need to become an emotional detective to figure out how someone feels about you. The truth is, people who care make it clear, not through grand gestures or poetic words once in a while, but through consistency, presence, and emotional safety. But when someone hits you with hot and cold energy, when one day they're into you and the next they disappear, when they say one thing and do another, that's not mystery. That's emotional unavailability. And every time you justify it, excuse it, or give it another chance, you're saying yes to chaos when you deserve calm. Here's the thing about mixed signals. They're not actually mixed. They're just someone being inconsistent and you trying to interpret that inconsistency as if it means something more than what it really does. But let's call it what it is. If someone was sure about you, they'd act like it. You wouldn't have to wonder. You wouldn't have to chase. Toughness. You wouldn't be stuck in this endless loop of hoping that this time they'll show up differently. The confusion is the message, and the message is they're not ready. They're not serious. Or they're just not that invested. The danger of staying in confusion is that it becomes familiar. It tricks you into thinking that love is supposed to feel uncertain, that relationships are supposed to keep you on edge, that passion requires pain, that connection means chaos. And that's not true. Healthy love isn't loud, dramatic, or anxiety-inducing. It's steady. It's clear. Ooh. It gives more answers than questions. But if all you've known is unpredictability, clarity might feel boring at first, even though it's exactly what your nervous system is begging for. You were not built to beg for consistency. You were not made to tolerate bare minimum behavior just because you're afraid of being alone. Confusion is not romantic. It's exhausting. And when you spend your days wondering what someone's intentions are, you stop focusing on your own. You lose sight of your direction. We're out of direction. You give away your power one overthought message at a time. You start to shrink to fit inside their inconsistency, adjusting your emotions to match their availability instead of asking yourself, what do I actually need? You are allowed to want clarity. You are allowed to ask, where do I stand? You are allowed to walk away from anything that keeps you in emotional limbo. And no, that doesn't make you needy. That makes you self-aware. That makes you someone who values their time, energy, and heart. Someone who refuses to confuse attention with intention. Someone who no longer wants to gamble with their peace. People who are emotionally mature don't create confusion. They eliminate it. They communicate. They don't leave you hanging. They don't leave you hanging. They don't breadcrumb you just enough to keep you around, but never enough to give you what you deserve. So if someone is keeping you in that gray zone, not fully in, not fully out, let that be your cue to exit. You don't need a grand explanation. You don't need to change their mind. You just need to protect your own. Every time you choose confusion, you postpone your clarity. Every time you settle for someone who won't give you a straight answer, you push away the peace that's waiting for you on the other side of release. And that peace, it's worth everything. Because when you finally stop entertaining the maybes, you make room for the hell yes. You make room for someone who won't make you guess. You make room for yourself to breathe, to grow, to heal, and to finally stop asking questions you already know the answers to. We grow up thinking that closure is this magical moment where everything suddenly makes sense. That the person who hurt us will come back, sit down across from us, and explain exactly why they did what they did. We imagine them offering clarity, maybe even an apology, and us finally being able to breathe again because now we understand. But most of the time, that moment never comes. People leave, relationships end, conversations stop mid-sentence, and we're left holding the pieces. Not because we asked for it, but because that's how life happened. And the truth is, the longer you wait for someone else to give you closure, the longer you stay stuck in a story that's already over. Closure isn't something you always get. It's something you choose. It's not about answers. It's about acceptance. And acceptance is hard because it means letting go without the full explanation. It means making peace with silence. It means saying, if this didn't end the way I wanted it to, but I'm not going to let that keep me from healing. Because at some point, you have to realize that chasing closure can just be another way of holding on. It's a loop. You keep spinning, hoping that if you just knew a why, the pain would disappear. But understanding someone's reasons doesn't change the outcome. It doesn't rewrite the ending. It doesn't undo the hurt. You don't need someone to admit they were wrong for you to move forward. You don't need someone to say, yes, I messed up in order to finally release them. That would be nice, sure, but it's not required. Because real growth happens when you stop needing other people to validate your experience. When you say, I know what I felt. I know what I gave. I know what it cost me to hold on. And now I choose to let it go, even if I never get the apology. Even if I never get the truth. We stay too long in situations that broke us just because we're waiting for the person who caused the damage to also be the one who heals it. But the person who hurt you is not the one responsible for fixing you. That's yours now. That's your job. That's your power. And it's a powerful thing to wake up one day and decide, I'm done needing answers. I'm done replaying old conversations. I'm done reopening wounds, looking for reasons. I'm giving myself closure because I deserve to move on. Sometimes closure is just a quiet moment when you decide to stop rereading the texts, to stop looking at their page, to stop stalking their energy, to stop writing imaginary speeches in your head that you'll never get to give. It's choosing to let it all go, not because it doesn't matter, but because you matter more, because staying in that loop is costing you more than it's giving you, because peace is louder than closure, even if it doesn't always feel that way at first. Closure also isn't always clean. Sometimes it's messy. Sometimes it's made of tears you cry alone in your car, moments of clarity that hit you out of nowhere, or boundaries you set without announcing them. Sometimes it's a slow unfollowing, a silent unfriending, a quiet unfurling from the grip someone had on your mind and your heart. And no, they may never know how deeply they hurt you. They may never fully grasp what they took from you. But that doesn't mean you owe them a seat at your healing table. Not everyone deserves to be part of your comeback story. Some people are meant to be left in the chapters they helped ruin. So if you're sitting in that space right now, that raw, hollow place where you don't understand why things happen the way they did, just know this. You're allowed to stop waiting. You're allowed to stop needing something from them in order to heal yourself. You don't need their permission to move on. You don't need their version of the story to write your next one. Sometimes closure isn't a door they close. It's one you finally lock from the inside. Your peace is everything, dear. It's not a luxury. It's not something you chase once you've handled everything else. It's not some reward at the end of burnout or a bonus for being a good person. Peace is the foundation. It's the thing that keeps you grounded, keeps you sane, keeps you showing up in your life with clarity, purpose, and presence. And if you don't protect it, nobody else will. That's the part a lot of people forget. Your peace is your responsibility. It's your job to guard it, to protect it like it's sacred, because it is. You can't keep giving everyone access to your mind, your energy, your emotions like they've earned that right just by showing up. Not everyone deserves to be in your space. Not everyone deserves a response. Not everything needs your attention. And not every invitation to chaos needs to be accepted. There's power in the pause, power in not reacting, power in walking away from anything that doesn't feel like peace, even if you don't have the perfect explanation, even if someone else doesn't understand your boundaries. Peace doesn't require justification. You'll know you're starting to protect your peace when you stop entertaining conversations that go in circles. When you stop trying to prove your point to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. When you stop chasing closure, validation, and connection from people who consistently disrupt your balance. You'll feel it when you start saying and no without guilt. When you cancel plans because your soul needs rest. When you let the phone ring because you know the call will drain you. That's not selfish. That's self-respect. That's you realizing that your energy is currency, and you're no longer spending it recklessly. Peace doesn't always look like stillness or quiet. Sometimes it looks like walking away from the group chat. Sometimes it looks like ending a friendship that constantly takes more than it gives. Sometimes it looks like staying home instead of being around people who exhaust you. Sometimes it looks like unfollowing, muting, deleting. Not because you're bitter, but because you're done sacrificing your mental space just to be polite. Peace isn't passive. Peace is active. Peace is a choice you make over and over again, every day, especially in a world that profits off of your overstimulation, your anxiety, your distraction. You have to become the gatekeeper of your own life. Ask yourself, who am I allowing in? What am I consuming? Where is my energy going? And if something or someone keeps costing you your peace, it's too expensive, period. It doesn't matter how long you've known them, how much potential they have, or how afraid you are to let them go. If being around them drains you more than it fills you, the price is too high. Your nervous system is not lying to you. Your body knows. Listen to it. Protecting your peace also means giving yourself permission to change, to evolve, to outgrow situations, people, versions of yourself that no longer align with who you're becoming. And that's not cold. That's maturity. That's self-preservation. You're not here to stay stuck in patterns that suffocate your growth. You're not here to play small, just to keep the peace with people who can't meet you at the level you're rising to. Sometimes protecting your peace means being misunderstood. Sometimes it means walking alone. But I promise you this, it's better to walk alone in peace than to stay surrounded in chaos. Let this be the reminder you needed. You're not obligated to carry everything. You don't have to be everything to everyone. You don't have to fix what you didn't break. You are allowed to log off, to step away, to unplug, to breathe. Peace doesn't have to be earned. It just has to be chosen. And every time you choose it, you're sending a message to yourself, to the world, to the people around you, that you are no longer available for anything that doesn't feel like alignment. So yeah, protecting your peace is your job. And when you start treating it like that, like it's your full-time priority, you'll notice everything else starts to shift. You'll think clearer, sleep deeper, love softer, move strong. Because when peace is protected, the rest of your life flows differently. And that's what you've always deserved. So if you take nothing else away from this, take this. You don't have to beg for a place in someone's life. You don't have to keep proving your worth to people who can't see it. You don't have to stay in spaces that feel heavy, confusing, or misaligned. You owe yourself more than that. You owe yourself peace. You owe yourself freedom. You owe yourself the chance to breathe without wondering who's going to disappoint you next. Let them go if they want to leave. So let the doors close. Let the silence be the answer, because your energy is sacred. Your time is valuable. And your heart, that thing's been through enough. You don't need more explanations. You need boundaries. You need clarity. You need to choose you again and again and again and again and again. This isn't about bitterness. This is about healing. This is about creating a life that feels safe, calm, and full. Not one built on crumbs, confusion, or chaos. So from this moment forward, focus on yourself. Protect your peace like it's your life on the line, because it is. Let go of what's not flowing. And trust that the people, opportunities, and moments meant for you will never require you to abandon yourself to keep them. That's the kind of freedom you're walking into now. That's the life you're building. One boundary, one breath, one brave decision at a time.